Let's do that. Bobby's nice big old noodle up there. I love that. We love
Heck
seeing
yeah.
it. And I'm going to do this, share the screen. And we're going to go over to here. So, Bobby, this is your topic, dude.
Heck yeah,
I'm
dude.
stoked. I'm stoked for it. So I don't know. I hope you guys, well, maybe you'll be able to see us on the side. We'll see how it goes. Okay. So, Bobby, today we're talking through heart rate variability and parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system stuff. Um, Real quick, when I start all these, I think I'm going to start doing just a really quick synopsis of, who I am, just so that in the event that in the future we can send these off to somebody else to help them out. They know that, a little bit of background. So we're going to roll into that today, give that a shot, see kind of how it goes. So, oh, shoot, let me do this. All right, so quick and dirty. We've, at least you guys, I think, know about this, but Blaze has been a couple different people in the past. 150 pounds soaking wet, going into college as a wee lad, working out 2+ hours a week, or excuse me, a day. And then I've been on the other end of the spectrum, also working out 2+ hours a day and 230 pounds and just an absolute load. So in both situations, I don't think I was very happy as a person, at least in regards to like my body and the type of body that I wanted and goals that I wanted. And I really think that these education tools that we've kind of started to implement in our program here can really help not only me improve, but everybody else here improve as well, to kind of understand your body and your needs a little bit more. So, what I didn't know back then, achieving the body you want doesn't take 2 hours in the gym every single day. It really just takes understanding your body, listening to it, working to improve. Now, like I said, I train hard, but it's only about 45 minutes a day. Except right now, I guess in dunk training, I'm doing 2 a days now to amp that up, but we can chat through that another time. But now I'm feeling better than ever. And I feel like a lot of that has come through just educating myself and not working harder in the gym. And kind of back to this point where I kind of feel like the most athletic, the fittest I've kind of been in my entire life, which is, something that I want to help you guys all kind of achieve as well. So real quick, to get to that point, I think it took, a lot of these values that we kind of have, and I've talked through these last week with a lot of you guys as well. But my personal values that have kind of bled into the business are going to be really important. So, I want you guys to like constantly be thinking about like, hey, how am I putting myself out there? How can I, put myself into a situation that I don't know what the outcome may be, but I do know that it may end up helping me progress in my journey. Leaning into discomfort is another huge one, right? Like making sure that we're 5 to 10% just uncomfortable is a real driving factor in us continuing to grow, which leads us into change being growth, making sure that we're continually changing and updating, auditing kind of where we are and where we want to go is really important. Comparison is the thief of joy. Everybody's on their own journey. You're not going to be somebody who is able to look at somebody else's body, someone else's, workout regimen, or, some sort of Instagram influencer who's all, jacked up on all these HGH or all these other things, and try and compare your life to them, because it's not the same. So just be on your own path. It's really important. I personally, I am somebody who lives and dies by my word. So something that I, always will say is like, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to try my best. And if I fall short, it's not from lack of effort. It's just from not having the resources or the amount of time required to make it happen. So I want you guys to be aware of that and hold me to that standard as well. If you're not having fun, do something else. Make sure you guys are having fun in this health and wellness and in life journey as well. It's super important. And then I talked a little bit before about having that accountability that goes kind of both ways, where I kind of hold you guys accountable and you guys hold me accountable as a coach, which is kind of why I like to do these coaching calls, because it makes me kind of uncomfortable to go research and learn a topic and then present the information to you guys and then field questions as well live, because I don't edit these videos at all. So I don't know if you guys have read them. I just basically save it and then ship it and upload them and then send them out to you guys. So no editing. There's probably a ton of ums and clerical errors in here, but we kind of let it ride. Keeps me, on my toes, helps me be a better coach, and hopefully helps you guys be better in your journey as well. And then just another last one, consistency is king and mobilities are queen, making sure that you're consistently doing your act, whatever that is, whether that's consistently walking every day or consistently, trying to make one better food choice, whatever that kind of is, it'll continue to help you progress throughout your journey. So again, I showed this map last week as well, but I'm going to show it again today. The type of coach I am, I want your success arguably more than my own. And without feedback, we can't improve. So last week, you can see that we're about the same with our tracker here, with our weekly check-in forms. So I know I said it before, but red is going to be when you did not complete it, and green is that you completed it, and I reviewed it and sent you back some feedback. So we're getting better. We've got like 4 or 5 guys that have been kind of on and off or ghosts for the better part of the program, but for the most part, especially the people that are here live, you guys have been taking it really seriously, and I really appreciate it. And I feel like you guys will continually grow at a more rapid rate than somebody who's not giving the feedback back and forth, so we can progress. So I thank you for that. All right, let's get into it today. So we're going to talk real quick: heart rate variability, sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous systems, and why you should care. So real quick, recovery drives progress. So without adequate recovery, your body can never really grow. To see progress in the gym, you need to be good at going super hard and going super soft. And we'll chat about what that kind of means in the program, as well as just in our workout regimen or rest and recovery. So heart rate variability. What is heart rate variability? It's the measure of a variation in time intervals between heartbeats. A higher heart rate variability is associated with higher levels of health. So what it really breaks down into is how you can go from a fight or flight response to a rest and digest response. And those are your 2 nervous systems that we're going to talk about, which are your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. So for us to kind of break those down, and we've got calls going off here in mission control, should be fun as we progress through this. So fight or flight responses, right? So what is a fight or flight response? What does that mean for us? The reason that the human body has fight or flight response in general is because of the bear chasing after you, right? Like if you didn't have all these processes built out in the human body, like how are you going to be able to run away from the bear and save your life? So the base need is, run from the bear, get away, get safe, and then you can figure out the rest later. So what a fight or flight response typically would look like. So if you are in a position where, your body is going into this response and the bear's chasing after you, it's going to trigger signals to your hypothalamus and kick on your sympathetic nervous system, aka fight or flight response. It releases stress hormones, your heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, you start breathing heavy. It redirects blood flow to essential organs and muscles so you can perform. Cortisol release for quick energy. This is this is why some people, I don't know if you've heard of, like the kid is about to or got like run over by a car or something, and then a parent or somebody can like run over there and like pick up the car, although they like never could do that before. Like this is part of that fight or flight response that helps them get that quick energy. Your digestion is inhibited because your body sees that as a process that isn't super necessary for immediate survival. So it's going to basically table that and put it on the back burner, and we'll chat about that in a little bit. It'll suppress pain, and then you also have like higher short-term focus. So long story short, bear's coming at you, bro. Let's get out to safety so that we're not going to die from the bear, right? Totally makes sense. So here's what happens if we stay in that state. So let's talk about some of those things that we could end up hitting if we're in a fight or flight response or activating our sympathetic nervous system too much and it's firing off all the time. A couple of those things are going to be digestion being inhibited, hormones depleted, high heart rate and stress, and it's hard to make progress. So long story short, we essentially need to find a way to go from going super hard in the gym or running from the bear to rest and digest and going super soft, which will kind of hit on how to do that here. So how do we come out of the state? How do we go from a sympathetic to a parasympathetic nervous system activation? What I'll tell you is it varies person to person, but some effective research has basically proven a few methods that you can use on your own to bring you out of that fight or flight response. What some of those here I've got listed. So deep breathing, meditation, yoga, tai chi, cold exposure, whether that's a cold plunge or a cold shower, have both been proven to be effective. Progressive muscle relaxation, which this one I actually had no idea that this was the thing before doing this research. So thank you to my boy Bobby for making me dive into this a little bit. Basically what this is like systematically tensing and relaxing different muscle groups. So you'd be like thinking like, okay, I'm going to tense up my calves now, and then my quads now, and then my core now. And like all this basically just brings more of a connection between your mind and your body, and it helps settle you down and put you into that parasympathetic nervous system, or helps you tune in to your parasympathetic nervous system more. And then the last one being sleep. So, how do we get out of the state of fight or flight? It's really going to come down to knowing your body, which I know a lot of health and wellness really is about. What chills you out? What gets you going? What is it, a nighttime routine that you're about to go to sleep? Or are you going to have, a day or an event that you need to like chill out from? So I'm going to tell you guys a quick story here. I was trying and a quick story on home projects. So long backstory, but I used to have to do home projects with my pops a lot when I was growing up. And needless to say, I was the flashlight guy and the tool runner guy, which maybe some of you guys can relate, maybe some of you can't. But I was in the midst of this, circa now 28 years old. I'm over here at my house, and I needed to, or at least I thought that I needed to replace my my float for my toilet. So basically this little valve right here that I've got circled on the right, the nut on the right was not coming off of the toilet, so that I could replace the apparatus on the inside of the toilet. And throughout the entire process, I was trying to get that thing off for like an hour and a half. And it was right before I went to that business event in Las Vegas. And I was basically trying to fix this in like a couple hours and then go on the flight. And long story short, like I was losing my mind, dude. Like it was an hour worth of me trying to get one nut off that was basically fused to the toilet. And I was like freaking out, like I was yelling, which it takes a long time for me to get really pissed. But I was like cursing and yelling, and I like I honestly, like my fight or flight response was like at an all-time high. Like I hadn't been that pissed or that juiced up on trying to do something in a long time. So basically I ended up, freaking the fuck out, and then eventually I told myself that, I could not get this thing off and I needed to figure out another solution. So I, buried my pride and my manhood, and I hit up a plumber friend of mine. Long story short, we ended up figuring out another way that I could fix the problem for the toilet that was running. But in the interim, right before I was about to go on this trip down to Vegas and meet a bunch of new people and a new environment, I knew that I needed to like chill my body out. So what I basically did is that I really tried to activate and take a step back, activate my parasympathetic nervous system in the moment. And this was through a deep breathing meditation and vagus nerve stimulation. And I've talked a little bit about the vagal nerve stimulation before, but I'm just going to hit on it a little bit more here. So this is a snippet from our first partnership here with the program, the Coolest Performance Technologies. And it basically talks a little bit about the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve, part of the anatomy, it's really big on a mind-body connection piece and talks directly about, look at that, recover from a stress of a fight or flight response and allows us to be more relaxed and rest and digest state, which to me is exactly what I needed when I was getting pissed at my toilet and about to have an aneurysm in my bathroom before this big trip. So I took my vagus nerve stimulator, or AKA my neck taser, I juiced myself up on the couch, sat there for like 5 minutes, and I got up and I felt like a totally different person from before sitting down. So I was basically able to take that stress and fight or flight response and move into my tune into my parasympathetic nervous system and really help me kind of clear my head before I went and got on a plane and headed down to Las Vegas. So, so simple backstory, but really what this comes down to is like that was an isolated incident, right? So how can you or I improve our heart rate variability or our ability to come in and out of our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system effectively on a day-to-day basis? Now it comes down to a couple different things. You can get regular exercise, which a lot of you guys are doing already, which is great. Stress management. I'm not going to tell you how to manage your stress, but I do know that it's most effective when your cortisol and your adrenal glands are just being drained all day long. It's really helpful for you to tune in and check into that parasympathetic nervous system, into that rest and digest state. You can get adequate sleep. So 7 to 9 hours is what's recommended. Healthy nutrition. I know that we're all working on that as well, kind of day to day. And we continually progress there, which is great. Hydration being key. Breathing exercises, we talked about those. Cold water exposure in a shower or a plunge is really effective as well. Mindfulness activities. So this is kind of going back to that meditation or breath work, and then limiting your caffeine and alcohol intake, which will also improve your heart rate variability over time. So real quick about me, for me to improve my heart rate variability, initially when I was learning about it, I actually invested in the Whoop strap. And I'm not sure how many of you guys have used or know about them, but they basically are able to quantify your heart rate variability because you wear the strap pretty much 24/7 for the whole time that you have it. So it's able to measure heart rate variability at, peak times of stress, as well as when you're sleeping, and kind of map that to give you a ton of data. So I was able to see actually how my body reacted to a night of, binge drinking versus a good night of sleep. Or I was able to see, hey, if I eat a bowl of cereal before bed, do I sleep better or worse than if I don't? Or if I have a steak, or if I have, pizza or whatever. And I was able to be super, super conscious about things that I even ate before going to bed, and knowing that that would help improve my recovery and therefore my results that I was working towards at the time. The other thing that I do on a daily basis, except I didn't do it today, unfortunately, because we were out late at a Halloween shindig, but I do a cold plunge a lot, and that's been really effective because, you have to just be really, really present where you are. You're in the fight or flight response right away, because the second you get into cold water, you definitely want to get out. And you kind of just have to sit there, and you're training kind of your mind and your body together to help bring that heart rate variability to a higher level. The next thing is, I kind of hinted on it before, but figuring out your nutrition and how it affects your sleep. So things that you eat, when you eat, and how that can affect your recovery is something that takes a little bit of an introspective dive for your individual journey. The vagus nerve stimulation, which I talked about before, that I think is a more like on the spot, like quick hitter when you're feeling stressed that you can hit to feel better. And then more consistent sleep and wake cycles, I've found, also help improve your heart rate variability. So let's say, I know a lot of us, being active duty members, it's really hard for you to plan that out or do that if you're, on call. But if you're in a point where, your schedule is a little bit more routine, or you're not staying the duty, like if you're like, hey, I'm going to be in bed most days if I can by 9 o'clock, and I'm going to be up at whatever 6, then perfect. Your body starts to get accustomed and routine, and then you're able to improve your heart rate variability because it becomes a predictable system and cycle for the body to kind of map to. Cool. And that is all I kind of had in regards to heart rate variability, sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous systems. What questions do you guys have? And I'm going to stop this screen share so we can chat about them too. Bobby, what you got, dude? It was your topic. Hit me with some info.
No, dude. I mean, I think it's like a pretty applicable topic for me, and also specifically this week. So to share about my week, I got back from traveling, and then I rolled straight into we had a renter on Wednesday, and I had to finish one of my units to get her in there, and I was getting 4 hours of sleep for the first 3 nights I was back. And I wear the whoop strap, and my HRV tanked. It was it tells you my body temp was rising. I was like, you're about to get sick. And yeah, sure enough, my entire week was shot. I got I workout in on Monday. And then from then on out, barely, my digestion was off. I wasn't hungry at all. Wasn't eating, wasn't taking care of myself. And so this whole week was shot just from me not having a consistent bedtime and a managing my sympathetic nervous system. So that's something that I definitely struggle with, is those management factors of I think that'd be solid, a consistent bedtime, consistent wake time, and devoting time every day to balance getting into and out of those zones. So yeah, it's super applicable topic to me. I'd be interested to hear what cold bath or cold plunge thing you have too. That seems like a pretty dope contraption.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. It's essentially a wine barrel that we converted into a cold plunge. So what
Right.
it looks like is it it essentially is hey, the you take the wine barrel, you chop the top, and then it's got a couple attachment points of, inflow and outflow of water. And it runs to a UV filter, a pool filter, and pump into an aquarium water chiller, and then back to the cold plunge. So I don't have to add ice to it, which is really nice. I just set the temperature on the aquarium chiller, and then it kind of rolls. And then it'll cycle the water. You can even, I got this pretty sweet thing as an attachment that's hey, you can set a cadence to an outdoor electrical outlet. So you could basically tell it when to turn on and off and cycle. So if you wanted to run the water every 2 hours for 10 minutes, you could do that.
Hmm.
So it's been pretty cool. I think more than anything, we should probably actually do one of these completely on cold plunging, because I think it's really interesting. But I do it right after a workout, and a lot of the research shows oh, you're killing your gains or your pump or whatever it is. But for me personally, I do it for the mental battle and the recovery aspect of in the heart rate variability equation. And I think that, doing it consistently right after I get out of the gym, and I'm I swear every single time I get on top of it, I'll hold the rim and I look down, I'm I don't want to do this. I have that thought in my mind. And if you do it and you get it done anyway, you start your day off with a huge win. So yeah, that's kind of why I do it and what the setup kind of looks like. And I can send you some photos of it too.
Yeah, so you made that whole thing yourself.
So we bought it with a couple of the things done already, and then I added the chiller to it to make it totally hands off, because I'd rather not buy, hundreds of dollars of ice and the storage space just would be a pain.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I think again, super applicable topic for me. So I think that if I can go forward, balancing I think I'm very good at living in sympathetic life with, you know, baby on the way, and remodeling our house, and just our typical lives that, I think we're all really good at sympathetic and dealing with sympathetic of stress of our jobs and balancing duty. But no, I personally don't take any time to be hey, this is my stimulating my parasympathetic and my disengaging time. So I think that's something I really need to start focusing on in order to really get into the program, to be honest.
For sure, man. Ryan, what about you? You got anything? Any questions or things to add?
We don't have a ton of cold water down here in our plumbing, but the little that you do get in the first 30 seconds or so of a shower, I didn't even know it was affecting the parasympathetic nervous system, but I do it after a workout to stop sweating. That's why.
Hell yeah.
That's why I don't like working out at lunch at work or anything, because then I have to get a shower, and it just cuts down on the whole lunch break and the workout. because I'll just sweat all day afterwards if I can't cool it off and close the pores. So I guess I've been helping that unknowingly. So it's kind of neat to hear.
Awesome,
Like,
man.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any like questions about the nervous systems or any of those things that I may not know the answer, but I can go figure it out and get back to you?
No, I mean, no, I think you laid it out pretty plainly, pretty easy enough to pick up. I know that you see a ton of stuff about cold plunging these days, and as handy and as much of a tinker as I am, I think some of the easiest ones I've seen people do is salvage old deep freezers and do like a little pump for water change out, and then you can, if you're handy enough to adjust the thermostat on a deep freeze. Sometimes the cool down time might take a while, but for a small investment just to plug into a wall, sometimes you can get them for free on the side, on the side of the road, people giving them away, clean it up,
Yeah.
seal it off. There's a number of ways to do it. It can be as intricate or as DIY as you want to.
For sure, dude. Yeah.
Cool idea. I didn't think about that. I got like 3 chest freezers, so
Yeah, do
probably
it, dude.
salvage one of them.
Do it. Tyler, you got anything, buddy?
No real questions. You laid it all out pretty in a simple manner to understand. I feel like my past month has been that fight or flight with all these changes going on with the boat and everything and the job and all that. But I think what's helped me most is those workouts, and that's my hour of the day that I don't take my work phone with me. I'm not checking emails and things like that. Kind of just like focusing on that, and then the other hours it is what it is, but kind of trying to find that balance.
Nice, man. Yeah, the balance is obviously key, and making sure that you're kind of checking in with yourself. And I try and set like a pretty hard boundary personally of like when I wake up in the morning, I drink my athletic greens and I'll sit and read for a bit, and I try to not like be doing anything else that's going to start firing off my fight or flight responses to kind of ease into my day, because everyone else is asleep at 4:30 in the morning. So just another plug that I have of like finding out or trying to carve out some time in the day, and whether that's in the morning, the afternoon, or evening doesn't really matter, but it's just whatever works for you. So if you're like, hey, maybe like for Ryan, for example, he's got a young kid, and maybe the kid goes to sleep at 7 or 8 o'clock, and he's like, yep, my time from my me time, or my time to kind of check in with myself and take this 10 or 20 minutes is at 8 o'clock to 8:20 before I lay down to go to sleep, or before we have dinner, or whatever it is. So find ways that you can do that, find ways that you can adapt to your schedule. Like today, I like to work out before going into work, but we got back home from a Halloween party last night at like 10 or 10:15, and I had to make this exact PowerPoint to make sure that I could present this stuff to you guys, because my week got away from me this week. So I finished that up around like 11, and there's no way that I'm waking up at 4:30 in the morning after going to sleep at 11 to go do a workout before coming in here. So I pushed mine to the right. I'll be doing it later today, but knowing that you can always flex and change is good too. But having that good core schedule is always beneficial to you. Cool, you guys. I don't really have anything else for you, unless you have any questions for me. Obviously, hit me up if you do. But if you guys don't have anything, I'll see you later. And Ryan, you're gonna stay on, right, so we can chat? Okay, sweet. All right, guys.
Thanks, dude. See ya.
Later.
Thanks, boys.
Yeah, see ya.